From the Weather NorCal Command Center, this is your Evening Update.
American Door Company has been family-owned and operated for over 29 years, supplying Northern California with quality garage doors, garage door openers, and installed with the best service you'd expect from a locally owned company. We serve all of Northern California from Willows all the way to the Oregon state line. Give us a call today.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Meteorologist Mike Krueger, and today is the last day we can really call it below 100 degrees for most of us in the valley because we have got some bigger heat arriving tomorrow. It's going to be pretty hot. Temperatures climbing well above 100 degrees in the valley, and I think some of the mountains could see some 100-degree readings as early as tomorrow, if not into Friday. Parts of the valley may hit 110 degrees for the first time this year, and this may also be the longest stretch of 100-plus degree temperatures so far this year. We also expect, though, that as we get closer to the end of next week, we may see a slight dip in our temperatures. So kind of peaking somewhere around Friday, Saturday, and then slowly kind of dipping after that. We'll get into all of that in your deeper dive in just a bit. But first, here's a look at your Krueger's Quickcast for your Wednesday, July 9th. Now, tonight's still pretty mild out there, upper 60s to around 70 in the valley. Not quite as cool as it was this morning. 40s and 50s for the higher elevations and low to mid 50s for the coast here. And taking out the door here for tomorrow morning, as mentioned, a bit of a mild start, upper 70s in the valley, 50s, 60s for the higher elevations. And once again, we're starting off with some of the low clouds and fog for the coast. So the area of low pressure that's been spinning just off the coast of Northern California the last few days, that's pretty much exiting the region as we speak. Now, what's going to happen is we're going to be looking at mainly dry conditions as a result. That low pressure system was kind of helping to destabilize the atmosphere a little bit, and that's what brought us a chance for some of those thunderstorms we did see over the last few days. But overall, you can see it's going to be a dry day going into your Thursday, maybe a few afternoon clouds off towards the east, but that's it. So there's the bigger heat coming in, upwards of about 105 degrees on average, give or take, for the valley. It's going to get back in the triple digits and with a vengeance, 90s for most of the higher elevations and mid-60s for the coast. Now we take a look at your 7-day forecast starting off with the valley, and at least for Redding, it's 100 degrees plus all the way through the middle, if not into the latter part of next week. It's also the case for Red Bluff, Chico. You may just dodge that triple-digit mark by next Wednesday, but no guarantees at this point. The coast, mid-60s, partly to mostly cloudy skies. Inland, also seeing some triple-digit heat, and that's also the case for Trinity County. Siskiyou, Modoc County, maybe right around 100 by Saturday, Sunday, and a Monday. But Susanville, I do think you could reach 100 degrees or higher as early as this weekend going into next week. All right, that's a look at your Krueger's Quickcast. Let's take you to the free Weather NorCal app before we talk about our deeper dive forecast. And the free Weather NorCal app is something I really do think you'll enjoy. It's a hyper-local forecast right here for Northern California. That's what it's all about. And it's not 100% AI generated, meaning the forecast that I generate every morning goes right into this app. So there's consistency. The forecast you see here is the same you'll see on the website and the same that you'll see right here on the app. Bottom line, check it out. Weather NorCal. Search for it in your app store. Download it for free today. Here's a look at your fire weather forecast, and we all, as usual, start off with those winds here. And you can see as we go into tomorrow morning, and those winds are picking up. They're going to be out of the north at about 20 to even upwards of 25 miles per hour. But for the mountains, the winds actually aren't that bad. Now, they'll subside a little bit here, but still pretty gusty at times through the day on Thursday for the valley. Now, this is not a major wind event. I don't want you to be too concerned about that. But when we start elevating those winds, we elevate that fire weather risk as well. Now, you can see a little gusty out towards southern Humboldt County, too. You go into Friday morning, all right, yeah, you're seeing those gusty winds one more time. And then they should subside by the second half of the day, but we're still going to be looking at some pretty high fire danger as a result. In fact, let's take a look at that. So you see how the fire weather risk increases for your Thursday, but nothing out of the ordinary. We typically do see the yellows and oranges on the map, which is moderate to high fire weather risk. That's pretty standard for us. Friday morning already getting into that high category, and then by Friday afternoon we're still in that high category. The numbers, by the way, those are relative humidity numbers, so you can see just how dry it's going to be as well. The smoke, if you haven't been dealing with smoke, especially in the valley and even Trinity County, you'll probably be dealing with it tonight and tomorrow. So we're going to see a shift in the winds. They've been generally from the south, so that's been really pushing most of that smoke to the north and even to the north and east. But now that we've got those winds blowing from the north-northwest, is going to take the smoke from the fires, the Summit Fire, Butler Fire, Green Fire, for example, and push that smoke southward. Pretty dense smoke making its way into Trinity County, northwestern Shasta County by about 11 o'clock tonight. And you can see by tomorrow morning, I think many of you in the valley are going to wake up to the smell and also the sight of smoke. We're starting to get in those yellows and oranges indicating some more of that dense smoke. It's going to decrease your air quality as well. I mean, look at almost all of Trinity County, we'll see that smoke. And then more in the way of just some of that haze off to the east, and it looks like better conditions here for the north coast. Now, we're going to see conditions improve, it looks like by Thursday midday, but as those fires begin to wake up again in the afternoon, they'll flare up. We still have those winds coming from the north down to the south, and we'll see most likely more smoke being pushed to the south, especially in Trinity County, but even parts of the valley could see some of that as well. So be prepared for the fact that the air quality is going to get a bit worse over the next couple of days. Here's a look at your satellite image. You can't see it here, but I want to show you the water vapor image. This here is dry air. You've got the green up here, that's indicating where the saturated air is. So you can, the reason I'm pulling this out is to show you that there is indeed an area of low pressure out there. You can't see the spin in the atmosphere if there's no clouds rotating around the area of low pressure, so you can't see it, but you can see it when we look at the water vapor image. And there you see that spin. That's the area of low pressure that's been ejecting off to the north and east, moving out of our area. So that's also been responsible, that low pressure has been responsible for some of the afternoon thunderstorms that we've seen, excuse me, over the last few days. But you can see as we go into this tomorrow afternoon, we just may see a few clouds off in the eastern mountains and even some clearing for the coast briefly, because then by Thursday evening, we start to see that low clouds and fog begin to return again. We take you into your Thursday night and Friday. That fog returns for many of you along the coast. But look at Friday morning, even Delton North, Southern Humboldt, seeing those clear skies. And then there will be some clearing for Friday afternoon. More clouds off to the east, even some thunderstorms developing in western Nevada, but I do think for the most part, we'll be looking at those dry conditions. So this is the area of low pressure I was talking about. It's opening up now and weakening, and it's going to be moving off to the east. That's essentially opening the door for this ridge of high pressure and this one off to our south to build in and give us warmer temperatures. We're going to see some of the hottest temperatures we've seen so far for the year by Friday and Saturday, but you can see a broad ridge of high pressure, big bubble of heat over the western United States in general, and then we start to see some energy break off from this area of low pressure here. It dives down to the south, and that will at least help our temperatures to start to slowly dip, but still right around or above normal by the end of next week. So the question is, I mean, if we're expecting some of the hottest temperatures so far for the year, what's the earliest, at least Redding, has hit 110 degrees or higher? Well, it was on June 5th of 1926, so we're over a month past that, so we're not coming anywhere near breaking that record, but we could see 110 degrees for the first time Friday and or Saturday. We're kind of splitting hairs at this point, right? We could see 108 to even 111 for both Friday and Saturday before temperatures do start. Remember, I was talking about they're slowly dipping, but even though the temperatures are dropping, we're still going to be pretty hot, right around 100 degrees by the end of next week and into that next weekend. The wave heights haven't been that bad, but they're going to start to increase here for your Thursday, and I do expect them to most likely get even worse by Friday. So there's a very good chance that by tomorrow, we'll be talking about small craft advisories. All right, so let's take a look at your Trinity County neighborhood forecast. Temperatures are going to be in the upper 90s. Even Douglas City could top out at about 100 degrees here, and then it really heats up by the time we get into your Friday and Saturday. There's the coast, temperatures mid-60s, even some upper 60s for some of those warmer days, even some clearing through the afternoon too. 73 for Klamath, 96 out in Orleans, and 95 degrees in Hoopa. For your Siskiyou County neighborhood forecast, your temperatures are going to be in the upper 80s for the most part. We're starting to warm up, but not too bad, not too terrible for Mount Shasta, but you're going to be inching closer to that 100-degree mark here by the weekend and early next week. That's also the case, by the way, for Alturas. You see how we're getting up to about 97, 99, 98, right? Could you touch 100 degrees? Not out of the question, but for your Thursday, not too bad, upper 80s. Take you off to the eastern mountains where we got about 90 out in Fall River Mills, about 92 degrees for Chester, and 99 degrees in Quincy. And Susanville, of course, you're up to about 100 degrees or higher by the weekend. That continues into early next week. In your Valley neighborhood forecast to the south, about 104 degrees for Los Molinos and 102 for Elk Creek, as well as Biggs and Durham, about 103. Looking at your 7-day forecast for Chico, 100 degrees or higher all the way through Tuesday, although by Wednesday we may be able to drop below 100, but no guarantees at this point. 106 for Redding, Anderson, 105 in Cottonwood, and Red Bluff. You'll see a high of about 104 degrees. I mean, the summer heat's coming back, and it's coming back with a bit of a vengeance. You can see getting close to, if not right at 100, right around that is 110 degrees for your Friday, Saturday. You see how the temperatures are just slowly dropping back down to about 102 by Wednesday of next week. That's your evening update. I'll be back again tomorrow morning at 6 a.m. and live on Coffee with Krueger at 6:30. Have yourselves a great night.
Barr & Mudford is a top established firm here in the North State. Founded over a half-century ago, Barr & Mudford is protecting the rights of our neighbors and community. We take our commitment to our clients very seriously and provide a level of excellence unrivaled in the North State. Barr & Mudford, standing up for the rights of our neighbors and our beautiful community, serving Northern California with excellence.